ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। हरि ओम्. So, in the last three classes, we have seen the preamble and the settings under which the dialogue between Nachiketa and Yama is taking place. Just a quick recapture. Nachiketa's father was doing the Vishwajit Yaga. He was giving all his wealth and everything. So the son goes and asks the father, "Whom are you going to give me to?" And pestered by the son, the father says, "I'm going to give you to death." And that makes Nachiketa to land in front of Yamadeva, or Lord of Death palace, and he was incidentally not there. So for 3 days, Nachiketa, without entering the palace, he was waiting outside without food and water. So when he comes back, Yamadeva's Ratni says that Tejasvi Brahmana boy is there waiting outside for you. Last 3 days he has not taken anything. For each day he can, bring all calamity if you don't respect him and bring him into the palace and bring water. And so Yama does all the required welcoming for Nachiketa, and then says that since you are there waiting for me last 3 days, you can ask 3 boons from me, and I'll be glad to give you the same, whatever is your desire. So the first desire which Nachiketa asked was that when I go back, my father should not have anger on me, and I should be looking the same, and my father should not have any misunderstanding. He should be able to, forgive me and accept me. Which Yamadeva says, yes, that boon is granted. Your father will have a good night's sleep, and he will be fresh and without any anger when you wake up, and you will be seen in the same form. In the philosophical implication of this boon is that this is, as per some of the commentators saying that this is what is indicated here is the Jivan Mukta's return to the world for Vyavahara. That appearance-wise he may look the same, but what has changed is his knowledge. Here also Nachiketa get the knowledge from the master himself, the Lord of Death. And the second boon, what he asked was, he wanted to know what is that Agni Upasana, Panchagni Upasana, which takes people to Surgaloka, and what is the methodology. So as a ritual Upasana part, Yamadeva explains that, and pleased with the way in which Nachiketa absorbed that instruction completely and repeated it, Yama was so happy that he said that from today onwards, this Agni will be known as Nachiketa Agni for everyone who is doing this Agni Yajna. And he also gave a necklace made of different colored gems. And then he asked Nachiketa to ask the third boon. And in the third boon, Nachiketa stumps Yama by a question which he never expected from a teenager boy to ask such a question. The third question which Nachiketa asks is that, I hear that some people say that after death, there is something left which is traveling, going out of the body. Some say there is nothing. With the end of the death, everything is over. Can you appraise me? Can you educate me on the truth between the two statements? Which is right, which is wrong? And if it is, which is right? Tell me what it is. Yama, this is the secret of the secrets, which only Lord Death knows. And even the other devas and the Swargaloka Vasi, who are residing in Swargaloka, they are not knowing this fact. So if this has to be exposed to Nachiketa, which is very subtle in nature, the education or the Vidya itself is subtle in nature, and to test whether Nachiketa is a potential candidate for it, Yamadeva offers him multitude of things, like he can be the king of the world, he can have the biggest palace in the world, he can have the wishful anything what he wishes in the form of material like horse, cattle, chariots, elephants, or gold. Whatever he wants, he can desire, it can be given. Then when he rejects that, then Yama understands that he is not going to get a easy candidate for this one. So he starts offering celestial offerings like Gandharvas and the pleasures which you get in Swarga. You don't have to go to Swarga for that. I'll make all of them servants for you, and you can be in your palace. You can still have that, the musicians and dancers and apsaras and all. Even for which Nachiketa says, no, I am not interested in any of your, you keep it to yourself. I want to know what is the truth between what happens when a person dies. I am not going to settle for anything less. This is the condition where we completed in the last class. Now, in the second Valli, the dialogue starts in the form of, again, between Yamadeva and Nachiketa. But Yamadeva is the first one who is starting. He has understood the qualities of the student Nachiketa. So till the 14th verse, it is a appreciation. First half is appreciation of the student by the teacher, and the second half is the appreciation of the teacher by the student. And from the 15th verse only, the philosophical dialogues start. So we will try to see whether we can cover as much as possible so that we can reach the philosophical verses as early as possible. But we should at the same time not miss out anything important in these verses, because these are all prerequisites for every one of us who is wanting to know the highest truth of the spiritual realm. So I'm not going to skip any portion where it needs explanation. So let us see how much we can cover today. So the first mantra is Anyat Shreyo Anyat Udo Vai Preyaha Te Ube Nanarte Purushagum Sinita Tayo Shreya Adadanasya Sadhu Bhavati Hyate Arthadya U Preyo Vrinite. I'll read the prose order with the meaning. Shreyaha Anyat. One path is called Shreyas. Uda, the second one is called Preya. Etat is separately, totally different from that. That is Eva Anyat. So it is totally different from Shreyas, which clearly says that these two paths cannot be followed simultaneously. Te Ube Nanartha Sinita Purusham. These two with different destinations binds a person in the world, because these are the two paths anybody can take. There are no natridiyam asti. There is no third method in which you can pursue your life in this world. Either it has to be the Shreya Marga or it has to be in the Preya Marga. Adadanasya Shreyaha Tayoho Yah Vrinite. These felicities of Shreya, one who chooses Shreya between the two, and then the other is one which Preya is used, is that Uhiyate is indeed deprived of the supreme good. So here in this verse, Yama says that the one who Shreya, following the Shreyas Marga, is the one who is towards that the spiritual goal, whereas the Preya, which is in the is pleasurable, is followed by the other people who are not into the spiritual path, and they are missing out the supreme goal. The total meaning is that Shreyas is one path which is leading for the spiritual progress, and Prayas is the path which is taking you away from the spiritual goal. Now, Shreyas is a methodology or the process of living in the world where your goal is to know the truth of life, your own reality, reality of the nature, reality of everything. In that case, what happens is that, as Bhagavad Gita says, Yastadagre Vishamiva Pariname Abhrudopamam. That is the situation of Shreyas. In the initial hardship, for those who are following the spiritual path, it will be like taking poison. It will be tormenting them with all doubts and not knowing the truth, not getting the right teacher, not getting the right knowledge. You may pursue so many hardships, upasana, yajna, pranayama, meditation, anything which you can do that. It is all may appear to be giving torture to the body or the mind. But then there is the other one which is called prayers, which is pleasurable and enjoyable, which most of the people take because the gratification is instant and your result is also instant. So what happens is that those who are following the Praya Marga are the one who are looking for the wealth, prosperity, name, fame, and position in the society. They will be only looking for methods for them and the method to acquire and aggrandize those things. But the one who is following the Shreyas Marga, he will be not attracted towards these momentary pleasures, but his mind will be always in the realm of the spiritual inquiry. Shreyascha preyascha manushya metaha tau samparitye vivinakti dhira. Shreyo hi dhiro preyaso vrinite preyo mando yoga kshema vrinite. Shreyascha preyascha. Shreyas and prayers. Etah manushyam approach the human being samparitye, having clearly considered them. The human being should approach both Shreyas and prayers. Now here is the definition given for dhira. Dhira is a person supposed to be discriminative in nature. We have the typical Indian language, we consider dhira is one who is courageous. Whereas in the spiritual path, dhira is not a person who is courageous. Shankaracharya in his Bhashya says dhiraha means dhimantaha, one who has very clear mind for making the discriminative choices between what is good and what is pleasurable, between the Shreyas and prayers. And Vivinakti means distinguishes between the two. Such a discriminative person, he dhiraha, abhivranate shreyaha. Such a person who is dhiraha, dhimantaha, who is intellectually sharp and able to have proper distinction between nitya, nitya vastu viveka, what is permanent, what is impermanent, what is satya, what is asatya. All these distinctive differentiation he can make, and such a person chooses the path of Shreyas. Other than that, other people who are manda buddhi, yoga kshemam, who is interested in only yoga kshemam, that is, yoga means to acquire things, kshema is to maintain what you have acquired. So in that, the people who are following the prayers path will be interested and immersed in that, either to acquire things or maintaining the things which they have acquired. So from these 2 points, we can see that the methodology of Shreya and Preya are totally diverse in nature. You cannot have both in our life together. There are people who are advocating that, oh, it's okay, you can have you can have all what is the thing as long as you don't have an attachment towards that. It is a for a aspirant or for a seeker, it will not work because the temptations of the objects of the world is so strong that even a dhira who has a discrimination can get momentarily enchanted by the attraction of the objects of the world, and he may lose that discriminative power, which has been told by uh, Krishna in the Gita second chapter. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho bijayate, kodat bhavati sammoha, sammodat smriti bhramsha. Smriti bhramsha buddhinasha, buddhinasha pranashyati. So it is very, very difficult to tread the path of Shreya with prayers along with it. As the commentators say, they are traveling towards north and south. They can never meet together, or they can never travel together. So only one has to decide which is your path of travel and which is what you should shun totally. So knowing the difference between the path of Shreyas and path of prayers, the Dhimandaha or Dhiraha, the one who is discriminate, have got higher levels of discrimination, he will choose the path of Shreyas. And then such a person is considered to be very, what you call Dhimandaha, in the sense that will always be established in his intellectual aspect of analyzing the events of life. Here is one thing we have to amend, that such a person will be always aware of all the actions, every momentum, bodham prati bodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. That in another Upanishad it says that. So a person who is in the path of Shreya can never take out his eyes from the every momentary action what he is doing, because whether he is missing out something or he is falling prey to the attraction of the worldly objects. So that attention or the alertness which a dhimanta should have is also equally important. Not that you have the discriminative aspect of what is satya asatya, nitya anitya. That difference alone is not enough. You also should be alert to know that whether you are missing out and you are falling prey for the attraction of the world. Sattvam priyan priyad rupa swakaman avidhyayan nachiketo atya sarakshi naita sringam vittamayi mavahatva yasyam majjanti bahavo manushya. He Nachiketa, Abhidhyayan, having considered Priyan, pleasing, Cha Priya Rupan, and attractive. Not only pleasing in enjoyment, they also look Priya Rupa, with attraction also. Kaman, sense objects, Saha Tvam Atyad Srakshi. You discarded them, because when Yamadeva offered all that gold, that necklace, Nachiketa did not accept it. He said, "You keep it to yourself. I don't want your gold. I don't want the long life. I don't want the dancers. I don't want the apsaras. I don't want the kingdom. I don't want the horses. Everything you keep it to yourself." So here he's saying, "Oh, Nachiketa, you have discarded all of them, which is Priyan and Priya Rupan and Kaman. So you na avapta, you did not accept it. Etam vittamiyam, this precious sankram, srik means mala or the necklace. That also you have not taken it. Yasyam bahava manushyaha majjanti, because people are, dreaming or wanting to get such adulations and recommendations and enjoyments and pleasures from the world. But Nachiketa, You are a student, you know, beyond comparison. I have not seen any apt student or an apt person who is inquiring into that, who is not even attracted by long life, chirakalam. Even that offer from this Yama was that you will live as long as you wish, with all your sense organs intact, without aging that. So, but Nachiketa said at that time, whatever may be that, it is within the realm of the time. So, ayurnashyati pashyatam anudinam. So, we see that, the age is eating into every capacity of our sense organs, and no object of happiness can ever be permanent in nature, because the object may remain the same, but my capacity to enjoy the sense organs comes down. Knowing all these things, Nachiketa very clearly told the Yama that I am not interested in all these things, because they are all limited in time. So they also have a end date. So I don't want things which have got an expiry date. I want to know what is that which doesn't have an expiry date. So this is what Nachiketa told. So Yamadeva is repeating that from for that Nachiketa, you did not accept this necklace which people are dying to get, and you have also rejected the pleasing, the attractive, and you know pleasurable things from within. So you are a very apt student. दूरमेते विपरीते विशूचि अविद्याया च वेद्यति ज्ञाता विद्याभीप्सिनं नचिकेतसं मन्ये नत्वा कामा बहवो अलोलुपन्ते अलोलुपन्ते अलोलुपन्ते, right? So here in the fourth verse on that valley, he is saying that ete vishasuchi, these diverse courses, means separate direction of shreyas and prayer, yat jnata, the one which are known, iti avidya, as ignorance cha vidya, and knowledge. So the prayer and shreya, prayer is known as a path of ignorance, and shreya is known as the path of vidya. So why it is vidya and avidya? Avidya is because you are enchanted or attracted by the appearances of a priya rupan, appearances of the sense objects from the world, and one do not discriminate it is whether it is a nitya or anitya, whether it is permanent or perishable. But even knowing very well it is perishable, people get attracted to that and they waste their life without following the path of vidya, which is toward the shreyas. And the path of shreyas is that of knowledge, where the dhimandaha, the dhiraha, is one which is analyzing every action, whether it is an object of sense organ or sensory pleasure, is camouflaging and appearing as not not of that sensory organ. Duram viparite manye nachiketasam. I consider Nachiketa, you are divergent in the nature and seeking the knowledge. Vidyabhipsinam. Vidyabhipsinam means the seeker of knowledge. Bahava kamaha na alolupanda. Twa. Twa, by you have not accepted, you are not attracted by the bahava kamaha. I offered everything that is possible for a human being to get tempted, and you are not attracted by that, and you have rejected all of them. So I can see that you are a vidya bhipsinam, that is, you are a seeker of knowledge, walking the path of vidya. So I am very pleased with your approach in knowing these things, the truth about what you have asked for. Vidyayamandare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha pandidam manyamanaha dandramyamana pariyanti moda andoneva niyamana yadanta. Now, this is a very famous quotation in most of the places you will find. Andhena niyamana yadanta. like the blind leading the blind. The mantra says, Andare Vartamana, steeped in the avidyayam, in the ignorance, Manyamana Swayam Dhiraha, they consider themselves as, Panditam. They think that they are Pandita, but they are all Avidyayam Vartamana, Andare Vartamana. They are immersed in the ignorance, but they think they are Panditas. And he calls them as Modaha, means the deluded one. Pariyanti Dandramyamana, wandering all over the, in the world for acquiring things and doing things which are not the Shreyas Marga, but in the Preyas Marga, but they think themselves they are in the Shreyas Marga. This is what way that knowledge, Dhimantaha, Dhiraha aspect is being again brought in an indirect way. Even though he may be a Pandita, with the Pandityam, all the knowledge of what the Shastras or the masters are telling, yet if he is not able to differentiate between the using his buddhi to dissect between the Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka, and such a person, if he is moving around in the world talking about all those things, but in his own action he is not applying that, such a person should be considered as not the person whom you should follow. We can say that he is a person like Andena Niyamana Anda. He is not a person who has the right vision to guide you and take you to the path of Shreyas. He will be like a blind man leading another blind man, both of them suffering in the entire process, not knowing how to do to himself. So here is that what the indirect meaning which is being very clearly brought in by the commentators, that the teacher of a caliber should be Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. So the Shrotriya need not be a Brahmanishta, one who knows the Shastras but do not reside or do not practice what is being told in the Shastras. He may be called a Pandita, but if he is not knowing to take the path of Shreyas, but he is following the path of Preyas for his name, fame, and the size of the ashram or the size of the followers, all those things are taking him away from his Shreyas Marga. So they may be called the Panditas in the what you call in a robe of a Muda. When the Pandita robe, actually they are Muda in reality. They do not know what is the reality, and such people should be treated as Andha, means blind. They don't know, and you should not follow such people who are blindly leading you to anything. So, I think we can cover the first more than today. Yeah. न संपराय प्रतिभादिबालं प्रमाद्यन्तं वित्तमोहेन मूढम् अयं लोको नास्ति पर इति मानि पुनः पुनः क्षमापाद्यन्ते मे. So in this verse, the spiritual discipline is not appeal to the indiscriminate, negligent one who is deluded due to his infatuation or the attraction towards the sense objects and the worldly objects. The world alone is there, none beyond. That is the standard statement of the what you call Charvakas. They think this body is the reality. The world, the sense organs, what is the world is to eat, sleep, and marry and live like that. This is what their be all and end all of life. Such people will come under my grip again and again, is what Yama says. That Samparaya means scriptural discipline, na pratibadi. Do not appeal to Balam. Here it means to indiscriminate or muda. Pramadhyandam, negligent mudam, the one who is deluded by the pramada of the discriminative power between what is told in the scriptural textbooks for following. Vittamohena, due to the infatuation for worldly pleasures and objects, Ayam loka asti na paraha. So those people make the statement that this world is only real. There is no world beyond. And for them, they don't see anything beyond. Te apadyante me vasham punah punah. Such people come to the jaws of death again and again, not realizing what is the foolishness they are doing it. So here is again the instruction from Yamadeva saying that the discriminative power for us to know what is Shreya, what is Freya is very important in the spiritual path. And those who, if we do not make the discrimination, even if you have all the scriptural knowledge in the world, and if you are not abiding by the Brahmanishta, you know what preachers should be practiced. If that doesn't happen, and you are not a Brahmanishta, you are getting deluded by the wealth of the world. And such people will come again and again into my clutches, or they will go from birth to death, death to birth again and again. श्रवणायापि बहुभिर्यो न लभ्यः श्रवणेन्दोऽपि बहवो न यं न विद्यु आश्चर्यवक्ता कुशलोऽस्य लब्धा आश्चर्यो जाता कुशलोऽनुशिष्टा. Now, here is a hint to what is going to come in the following teaching. A hint is being given by Yama here. Yaha means here he is indicating to that Atma. Na labhyaha is not available. Api shravanaya, even for listening, bahubihi, for many. In our world today, we see that the path of spiritual path is still not even attracting, I won't say even 0.5% of the population of the world. So Bahubi Shravana, even for the hearing about the path or the spiritual progress, knowing what is spirituality or the philosophy of life, people are not interested because so much engrossed in their sensual and gratification. They don't even want to listen to what is about this truth about the life. Then there are the other people. Api shrunnuvantaha, in spite of listening, bahava na vidiyuhu. Even some people, there will be people who are going regularly to all satsanga, sitting there. When the moment the lecture starts, they will go into a dream world or a sleep, and they will be snoring, or they'll be in the manorajya, where they will be dreaming something. What is being taught will not be. Even so, they will not. Api shrunnuvantaha api bahava na vidyu. They do not even come to know what is being told, and they don't understand. Even if assuming that they are listening, that required quality, unless you walk through the Shreyas Marga by the discrimination, that what you words which you listen from the teacher who is explaining the Shastra, that need not enter your understanding. So normally there are three defects in hearing. What they call it as Ajnana Samshaya Viparya. Ajnana is you are told about Atma and all, but yet you do not know what it is. Basically, I mean, it is a sound only. Shabda matra. You don't know what is the Shabda Artha. You don't know the meaning of the word. Then what happens? So of course you understand that yes, he's talking about some aspect of my nature. That knowledge you get it. Then you will think that he is talking about my intellect or my ego. That is what is called samshaya. Whether he is talking about me or my body or my intellect or what is he talking about? Who is this Atma that I am hearing about? That it's out of a doubt will come. Then Vipadhyaya is the people who convince themselves that yes, what is being told is something who is abroad, like a Brahma is a person who is sitting in the skies and controlling the whole world, Ishvara, and that is Vipadhyaya, totally different meaning of what is being told in the Shastra. So this samshaya, ajnana samshaya viparyaya is the case of the people who are shrunvantaha api na vidayu. They do not know it. Yam, this Atma, Vakta, one who reveals, Ascharya Labda Asya. The Vakta, the one who reveals about Atma, is a wonder. Labda Asya, the one who discovers this, Kushalaha, in as a wonder, Kushalanushishta, instructed by a spiritual master, Jnata, the one who knows Atma, Ascharya is totally is a wonder. In the sense that the one who really understands what is being told, for he should be such a blessed soul that he gets an acharya who is Shostriyam Brahmanishtam. He is the one acharya who has the not only that scriptural knowledge, but he is talking from having understood it 100% from his own experiences. When his experience talks about such a knowledge, it has a unknown weightage, which you can call it as a wonder. Is ascharyavat paschati kaschidayanam. So that you know that loaded with knowledge, when experiential knowledge, when an acharya talks, such a person is also kushala nishta. He is also not only having the knowledge about, he is established in that, and he is talking from that status of experiential knowledge when he is taught. Jnata, one who knows, he himself is an ascharya. Such a person to get is itself is a wonder. So here is a glimpse of what is in store for us in the Kathopanishad to come. We are talking about a adbhudam, or a wonder which is not available for ordinary people. Millions of people are not even aware of such path is available. Even after of the few million or few thousands who listen to that availability of the path, the methodology and everything, for him to get a acharya who is able to talk it from his personal experience, which carries the conviction, to pass on the conviction by educating the Shishya will feel the wonder in the statement. It is not just by weight of the word, it has got the experiential aspect which is conveyed through the words of such a acharya. And to get such an acharya is itself is a what you call a wonder, or is a very rare even to even imagine it. Navarena narena navarena prokta yesha suvitneyo bahuda chindyamanaha ananya prokto gadiratra nasti aniyan hyadavarta mum pramanat. Yeshaha means is referring to about the Atma. Chindyamanaha is even imagined. Bahuda, by various thinkers, they have thought about the Atma as different. And Prokta means when it is revealed by the Acharya, avarena narena, by an incompetent person. Avarena narena. Narena means person. Avarena narena means incompetent person. Na suvitneha. It cannot be understood clearly. So when a person talks about these historical or experiential things, if there is no weightage or no conviction in his statements, it cannot be understood. Na suvitneya. And who is such a person talking? Avarena narena. Such a person who has no conviction to what he is talking, even though Bahuda Chindyamana, he has also done a lot of studies. He has done a lot of introspection himself, but it has not become his conviction. So a person for whom it has become a conviction can only convey things in by words with conviction. So actually, when he's talking through his words, he's not talking the words or the meaning of the word, but he's also sharing his conviction to the listener. So that is the important part. Ananya prokte, when Atma is revealed by one who is not different from it, that is the most important part. Ananya, for such as Acharya who is Ananya from his own Atma Anubhava, Asti na agati. Asti na agati. There is no misunderstanding. Agati means, gati means understanding. Agati means misunderstanding. Asti na agati. When such a person who is a prokta ananyaha, atmad anyaha na atmad anyaha ananyaha. When he, such an acharya who is established in the truth, when he explains it, it cannot go wrong because the words will be the direct method or the methodology in which that knowledge comes to your understanding, and there is no misunderstanding. Atra hi aniyan anupramanat, about being a smaller than the size of an atom, atarkyam, and it is beyond reason. Tarkam means reasoning. Atarkyam means beyond reasoning. And he is talking about what? If you remember the statement which Yamadeva made, even Devas could not understand that this is such a subtle subject. Even Devas are not able to understand. So why are you asking me this question again and again? When he told Nachiketa, there he entered this same meaning there. It is the truth about it is anupramana, even though with the word anupramada means it is the smallest in the size. Here it is the subtlest of the subtlest. It is the subtler than the space. So whether you can call it as an anu or not itself is a question mark. So only when such a subject is being conveyed by an acharya who is established in himself and he is none other than that Swarupa, then there is no question of misunderstanding. Atarkavyam, it beyond reasoning, or you don't have to even argue with for that. Such will be the clarity which when such a teacher explains this to you. This Atma is imagined variously by various thinkers. So different philosophy schools have addressed Atma as, in the Nyaya Vaisheshika school, they say it's in Anu, and Anu Dvigunam Trigunam. Then from the Anu comes the matter, and Atma is a Dravya for the Nyayika and Vaisheshika. For then some school of Mimamsaka, even Ishvara is not there. It is just a happening, like what mutations are keeping on happening. It's a cycle, never-ending cycle. It has never. When did it start? And when it never started. It never going to end. It will continue. That is some sort of a Mimamsa school is there. Then Prabhakara Mimamsa school has brought in certain changes in that. So different schools of thoughts in India have addressed what is Atma in their own Tarka method. Tarka means reasoning method. So the ultimate what is they are finding is in conflict with the Shastra what is being told. So only a Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam who is Ananya Prokta, he is the Atma himself who is talking to you. Only from when you hear from such a master, Gadiratra Nasti, there is no way you can you cannot have a misunderstanding about what is being taught. So we'll take one more sloka and stop here today. Nesha Tarkena Matirapaneya Proktananyeva Sunetneya Preshta Yam Twamapa Satyadhritir Bhavastasi Twankhena Bhuyan Nachiketas Prashta. Yesha Mati na Apaneya Tarkena. This knowledge, Yeshamati, this knowledge, na apaneya, cannot be attained, tarkena, by logic. Ho Nachiketa Preshta Prokta Anyena Eva, by someone else alone taught, Sunat Sutnya Sunak Suknanaya. It doesn't come into one's comprehension. Tvam apaha, you have attained yam, that knowledge. Asti, you indeed. Satyadhriti, you are resolute one who have stood on to knowing the truth. O Nachiketa, na bhuyat, may we have prishta twadrik. Prishta means the one who questions and seekers. Tavadrik, twadrik means like you. So here Yama is concluding, giving the final praise to Nachiketa, saying that this, what I am going to tell you, cannot be known by reasoning or no any other method, and it cannot be taught by somebody else who has no knowledge about it. And you are such dedicated and resolute person who has not deviated, even though I offered you all temptations which is in the Prayas Marga. You are stuck to the Shreyas Marga, wanting to know the truth, and let there be a beautiful samvada between me and you is the indicated meaning. That Sahanavavato Sahanau Bunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinam Aditamastu Ma Vidyushavahai. That Shanti Mantra is the most apt for concluding this shota way, saying the mantra, saying that the teacher is the best in the world. He's an Ascharya, he's a wonder. For a teacher to be a teacher, you need a competent student. Then only the teaching becomes efficient and successful. And no student can be more apt for this knowledge who other than Nachiketa, because he has thrown away everything and everything what Yamadeva has offered, including the necklace, to the long life, to the enjoyments, the kingdom of the earth, and life as long as he wants with all sense organs intact. So even that, if he has rejected and he has said that I want to know only this, that means he is a prashta, he is a seeker who cannot be disturbed or he cannot be shaken, whatever may be the temptation that comes in the path of gaining the knowledge. And that is where the this part of the dialogue between Nachiketa and Yama, we will stop it to here. Then the next week we will take from where Nachiketa is starting his dialogues, giving praise to the Guru who is going to teach him this Atmajnana in through the remaining parts of the Kathopanishad. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti